And then it's Brighton at the Amex. Now, it was 1-1 at St Mary's back in December. This was the fateful game, 10 minutes to go against 10 men, 1-0 up. What could possibly go wrong when Alex McCarthy picked up his injury? It's going to be different than that this time around, isn't it, Steve? They've been pretty dreadful at the Amex.
They've gone back to what they were last season in that they tend to play quite well or sort of visually seem to play quite well in games, but they'll have like 30 shots in a game and have a combined XG of like 0.3 because they're kind of losing any confidence to get the ball into good areas, and in the end just resort to taking pot shots from 30 yards. A little bit like what Arsenal did at times yesterday, actually. But Brighton are such a weird team in that they are basically a proper centre forward away from being genuinely quite a good team. But without that, it puts so much pressure on the defence to keep teams out. So they kind of rely on little moments. At the end of the day, they've gone to Spurs and won 1-0 yesterday, which didn't watch the game, but by the sound of it, was absolutely deserved.
Yeah, it was.
Spurs didn't even get a shot on target, I don't think. And yet they can also lose at home to Burnley. They could draw at home to Norwich. I think their setup probably works slightly better away from home. Their form at the Amex over the last 3 years, I think, has been pretty atrocious. So that's another one that you've got to look at and think, well, as long as we don't do anything stupid. Obviously that's a very obvious hold my beer moment, but as long as you don't do anything stupid, then there's an opportunity for 3 points. And it's a case of, okay, whether the initial storm that they'll probably throw at us, because they're an energetic side, they'll want to be getting at us. And they'll think that they'll be having similar conversations, I imagine, on Total Seagulls podcast, saying that
is that a thing?
I've no idea.
I'm going to Google it later.
part of our new franchise, where they'll be saying, well, Southampton are crap defensively, get at them and force them back, and then you'll be able to create chances and score goals against them. That'll be their angle. And we've basically got to just hold them off on that front, whilst then looking to do the same ourselves.
And it's a bit of a mini league now, isn't it, Daniel? Because the ambition will still be to finish as high as possible because of obviously the prize money. But you've got that little mini league with Brighton and Brentford, Palace, Villa to a certain extent, and we're still within a point of Brighton. So they're going to want to win this because we've talked about keeping the players motivated, and I think yesterday probably really helped with that.
I think so, yeah. And I think we all said, didn't we, a few weeks ago, you want Southampton to be better than the rest of the teams that they do compete with. I think Southampton are never going to be a team that finishes sixth, but you want them to finish above Brighton. I think Brentford have played a game more than Saints have, so that could work in kind of the club's favour. But yeah, it's going to make it interesting because 10th is still very much up for grabs, and beating Brighton would obviously go not a long way, but we certainly won't do Saints any damage in doing that. I'm struggling to get excited for any of the games at the moment. It's just one of them, isn't it? I mean, I don't know, was it you, Martin, that said, or maybe it was Ben, I'm not sure. Someone said that it kind of goes from the race to 8th to 9th to 10th to 11th. Yeah. We're down to 10th now, aren't we? So, yeah, I mean, fingers crossed.
It's going to be about finishing better than last year, really, Glenn. But if we can't win at the Amex, there's got to be, we've got to get 3 points there, haven't we?
Well, we have a decent record there. I've been to the last 2 wins there.
Decent away day, yeah.
Yeah, it's all right, and they're a very friendly bunch, actually. The Brighton fans, there's never any issue there, whatsoever. So, yeah, fair play to them. They're an interesting team, as Steve has alluded to. Haven't they beaten Arsenal and Spurs away from home?
Yep,
recently.
Literally in the last week.
But they can't win at home, and that will play on your. That always plays on your mind if it's a close game going into the last half an hour. That is just something that plays on every team's mind. I've seen it with us before,
Mm.
where we haven't won at home for 6 games or whatever, and you just see everybody going back, and you end up defending your 6-yard line and all that sort of stuff, and it just never seems to end well. So again, similar to Burnley, if we put them under pressure, I think they will struggle a little bit. They never, in games that I've seen them play recently, against us, they've never seemed that threatening. They never have the sort of big chances and stuff like that. It's only when we tend to sort of give them stuff. So it's another game where if we concentrate properly in defence, I don't see them being particular. That's another hold my beer moment. As Salute said.
This is all going to come back to haunt us.
They've won 5 Premier League games since the end of September.
Yeah, they had a really good start, didn't they? Weren't they top of the league after 3 games or something?
Yeah. Let's do
August champions.
Let's do score predictions, Steve. Score prediction for Brighton.
1-1, I reckon.
It's a sigh, isn't it?
Yeah, I kind of. It's one of those. I think we've still got a defensive ricket in us, and we can't possibly go 3 games in a row without one.
Yeah. Okay. Dan, Brighton score
2-1.
Shorter journey for you, so that's
much better journey.
Much better journey. Yeah. And Glenn.
I was going to say 1-1, I have to say, but I'm not going to because Steve said that. So I'll go for 1-0 win again.
1-0 win. Right, nice one.